All right, guys, we are moving on the practice test. We are moving on to question number 12. Good news about question number 12. Again, it's a good thing you've got me as a teacher. You might not think so. That's okay. Because question number 12 is on a topic that you are not supposed to learn in 7th grade. As a matter of fact, this is sophomore year of high school is when you learn mean absolute deviation. That's going to change next year. We're going to learn it in 7th grade, but you're not supposed to have this question on the test. So they have made it extra credit. So I'm not going to go over it because our videos are already super long. So when you get to question number 12 on the actual test and it asks you about mean absolute deviation called MAD, you just pick any answer choice and move on with your life. It doesn't matter which one you pick, it's bonus. If you want to learn about mean absolute deviation, come see me in class. I'll be happy to teach you how to do it. All right, we're going to go on to question number 13. Question 13 says the ages and years of the students in 2 soccer groups are shown below. What is the interquartile range for the class with the greater median? We did this one in a quizzes or a Kahoot earlier in the unit, so hopefully you remember it. This one requires me to not only find the median for each of the groups, but then also find the interquartile range. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start by finding the medians. And remember, in order to find the median, I have to, number 1, put the numbers in order from smallest to largest. And then I have to cross from the outside in. So I'm going to start with group 1. I'm going to call group 1 red. And I'm going to put those numbers in order from smallest to largest. So I'm going to start with 7, then 8, then 9, then 10. I see 11, I see 12, I see another 12, and I see 15. And then just to make sure I didn't skip anything, I'm going to count how many numbers there are. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got all my numbers. Now to find the median, I'm going to cross from the outside in until I bump into the middle number. Now, here's the problem, ladies and gents. The middle number doesn't show itself. It's in between 10 and 11. If you know what that number is just by looking at it, what's right in between those two, you write it down. If you don't, you add those 2 numbers together, and then you divide it by 2. 21 divided by 2 is 10.5. And I would assume you're using a calculator to do this, so that should make sense. So the median of group A is 10.5. All right, I'm actually going to write it in between those 2 numbers in black. Okay, so the median is 10.5, and I'm going to put a box around it and call it my median. All right, I'm now going to do the same process for my group 2. And I'm going to call group 2, let's say blue. Okay, so here are the data numbers in order from smallest to largest. The smallest number in this data set looks like it's 8, and 9, 10. I see 2 11s, then 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, so I'm going to count them just to make sure I didn't skip anything. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got them all. I'm now going to eliminate from the outside in. So 8 and 15, 9 and 14, and so on. Okay, now in this case, I get a middle number. I bump right into 11. So I don't have to add together and divide by 2. I just have a middle number. So my median of group B, or group 2, is 11. All right, that's important because this question says, what is the interquartile range for the class with the greater median? Now, which one's greater, 10.5 or 11? Well, 11 is greater. So now I need to find the interquartile range of group 2. Okay, I don't need group 1 anymore because it was not the class with the greater median, so I can forget about it. I don't need to know it. Okay, what I am going to do now is I'm going to take this data set that I have found the median of, and I'm now going to find the interquartile range. Remember, to find the interquartile range, I am going to first find the median of the lower set of numbers below that original median, right? I'm going to find the middle number of the lower set of data points. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do some elimination again. I'm going to cross from the outside in until I bump into the middle number. In this case, I have these two numbers, 9 and 10, that are right in the middle. I'm trying to erase these little black lines. All right, I've got 9 and 10 that are right in the middle. And so I'm going to have to figure out what's right in between 9 and 10. That shouldn't be too hard. Hopefully you know it. If you don't know what's right in between 9 and 10, you're going to add them together. And then you're going to divide it by 2. Okay, 19 divided by 2 is 9.5. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the numbers that are to the right of the median. I'm going to find the median of the upper set of data points. I'm going to try to erase these little black lines. I don't know if it'll let me without erasing the numbers. Okay, so I'm going to cross from the outside in. So I get rid of 12 and 15, and then I have to figure out what's right in between 13 and 14. And again, I know that's 13.5, but if you don't know that, you add them together and divide by 2. All right, now to find the interquartile range, now I subtract. I'm going to do 13.5 minus 9.5. You subtract those two. This is called, by the way, quartile 3. This is called quartile 1. Much easier to figure out with a box plot than with just a list of numbers. 13.5 minus 9.5 is 4. I could use a calculator to figure that out. So the correct answer choice here is C. Pause the video, copy down what you need. Moving on to question 14. All right, another drag in the blank, true or false question. Obviously, I'm going to have to do a lot of work here. This says Ms. Scanlon is comparing the scores on a math test for 2 of her classes. The scores for each class are shown below. Determine whether each statement about the scores is true or false. Drag true or false into each blank. Each response can be used more than once, right? There are 4 different questions I need to answer, and I am going to have to use these 2 data sets, class 1 and class 2. Guys, this is going to ask me to find the range, the median, more variable means range. I hope you remember that. And then the median again. So I'm going to kind of set this one up just like I did that last problem where I'm going to make a chart. I'm going to list my answers, right? Okay, so I'm going to start with class 1. And class 2. Obviously, I would like you guys to be doing this on a blank sheet of paper or in your notes, so it's nice and organized, but I'm trying to do it on a screen, which is not as easy to do. Okay, so I'm going to start with finding the range. Okay, now, because I also have to find the median, I know I'm going to eventually have to put these numbers in order either way. So I may as well do that because it'll help me find the range more easily anyway. Class 1 is going to be in red, and the numbers in order for class 1. Let me block this off and make it all white. Okay. So class 1, I'm going to put them in order. Smallest number is 44. 48. 58, 64, Got two numbers in the 70s, 75 and 78. Got two numbers in the 80s, 82 and 88. Oops. And then I've got two numbers in the 90s, 92 and 98. Okay, I'm going to count them all, make sure I've got them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now I'm going to find the range first because that was the first thing it told me to find. And the range, remember, for class 1, I'm going to do the biggest number minus the smallest number. The biggest number is 98. The smallest number is 44. And 98 minus 44, do I have this written down? The range is 54. Guys, you feel bad about watching all these videos and doing this? I made these questions. I created them. I recorded them. I did them. Now I'm doing them again. And, so don't complain. I'm doing it like 3 or 4 times. You're doing it once. Okay, so the range is 98 minus 44, biggest minus smallest. I can also now find the median, which is the second thing that they asked me to find on this question. Okay, so the median I'm going to do outside in, crossing numbers out till I get to the middle. Okay, I don't know what's right in between 75 and 78. So I'm going to add them together. I get 153. I then divide it by 2. Oops. Knew I did something wrong. Couldn't figure out what it was. All right, so it's 76.5. Okay, now I'm going to do that exact same process. Yes, it's annoying. I'm going to do that exact same process for class 2. All right, class 2 I'm going to say is blue. Here's my white box that disappeared when I erased. All right, so I'm going to start doing the numbers in order from smallest to largest. Smallest number I see is in the 50s. So I see 54, 58, 64. Nothing in the 70s. Oh, I see a 68. I almost missed it. Nothing in the 70s. 82, 86, 88, 92, 96. Okay, and I'm going to count how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I match. So I'm going to cross on out from left to right, 2 at a time. And I do end up with a middle number right now. It's 82. So the median of class 2 is 82. And the range I find from taking the biggest number, subtracting the smallest number. So 96 minus 54 is 42. All right, now I can answer my questions. I call that front loading. It means do all the hard work ahead of time and then answering the questions won't be so hard. Okay, so the first part says the range of scores in class 1 is 54. The range of scores in class 1 is 54. That's this piece of information that I just wrote down right here. That is true. The median score in class 2 is 76.5. Class 2 median is not 76.5, it's 82. This one's false. The scores in class 1 are more variable, meaning that their range is bigger. More variables, talking about range. Is the range bigger in class 1 than class 2? The range in class 1 is 54. The range in class 2 is 42. That 1 is bigger than 2, so this is true. And finally, the median score for class 1, the median score for class 1, 76.5, is lower than the median score of class 2. It's lower than 82. That's true. So class 2 generally performed better. That's true because the median score was higher in class 2. All right, so that's how I would do those answers. Pause the video. Moving on to question 15. We're almost there, guys. There's 2 more. The 13-year-old soccer players on Mr. Dave's team were evaluated for their ability. The graph below compares the ability of his team as a percentile to the abilities of all 13-year-old soccer players. Okay, so I am given 2 box plots. These are very narrow box plots, but still I should be able to read them pretty clearly. They do give me the 5-point summary on the box plot itself, right? So I don't have to track down to the number line to get what those numbers are. It tells me right where, right on top of the box plot. So in this first player, his lowest number was a 20, his highest number was a 100. The middle number is a 60. 50 is quartile 1 and 80 is quartile 3. All right, so I've got all that information laid out. I'm going to look at my answer choices. There's only one that's right. It says, which of the following can be concluded from the graph, meaning only one is right. Answer choice A says the means for the 2 groups are the same. Since the data are skewed to the right, the range for Mr. Dave's players appear to be greater than the range for the population of all 13-year-olds. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. You can't find a mean from a box plot. There is no way to determine the mean. In order to find the mean, we have to add all the data points together and divide by however many there are. When we use a box plot, we're not given the data values. So we can't find the mean. So this one cannot possibly be right because I don't have enough information. Guess what? B can't be right either because it says the mean. As a matter of fact, none of these really should be right because don't they all say something about the mean? Hold please on this one. I'm going to go back and triple check and make sure that it's done properly and record a different video to go over 15. So we're just going to skip it for now because you can't find a mean given a box plot. I'm going to move on. Let's go to question number 16. 16 says the owner of the world's softest t-shirt compares factory production for his 2 stores using the data in the table shown below. So I've got 5 days of the week, Monday through Friday. I've got factory A, how many t-shirts they produce, and factory B, how many t-shirts they produce. It then asks me which inference is valid, meaning which one of these statements below is true. So again, a true or false question, but I only need to find one that is true. All right, so factory A has less variability because the range for factory A is greater than the range for factory B. So I already know that one of the things I need to find is the range. Statement B says factory B produced more t-shirts than factory A because factory B has a mean of 110 and factory B has a mean. So I have to find the mean for both groups. Statement C says factory B has less variability because the range, okay, so we've already got range written down. And answer choice D says factory B produced more t-shirts because it has a median. So I also have to find the median. This test is intense. Intense. Okay, so I've got my groups too. I've got factory A and factory B. All right. So here's how I'm going to do it. Let's find the range first. Remember to find the range. I take the biggest number minus the smallest number. I'm going to be looking at factory A. I'm not going to bother right now putting them in order. I can just look with my eyes and say the biggest number here is 120. The smallest number here is 88. So to find the range, I'm going to do 120 minus 88, and I get whatever I get. Just checking to see if I've already done this question. I did not. Okay, so I have to do the math there. 120 minus 88. I get 32. So the range is 32 for group A. For group B, The biggest number here is 124. The smallest is 94. So 124 minus 94 is 30. Okay, so let's see if any of these range questions are true, because as soon as I bump into a true statement, I don't have to do the rest, right? So question A says, factory A has less variability, meaning a smaller range. Factory A does not have a smaller range. Factory A's range is 32, factory B's range is 30, so that statement is false, so it can't be A. There was another one with a range. Factory, that's choice C, let's look at choice C. Factory B has a smaller range, because the range for factory B is greater than the range for factory A. I'm glad I read the whole thing. Factory B has less variability, meaning a smaller range. That part of this statement is true. Factory B has a smaller range. 30 is smaller than 32. But then it goes on to say, because the range for factory B is greater than the range for factory A. Range for factory B is 30. It's not greater than factory A. So this is a false statement because part of the statement was false. So it's not A or C. All right, so now I still need to find the means and the medians. I'm going to go ahead and do the median just to put the numbers in order. For group A, the numbers in order are 88, then 98, 102, 113, and then 120. So the median is 102. For group B, from smallest to largest, it's 94, 102, 116, 118, 124. Median outside to in is 116. Let's just see if we can answer this true or false without having to find the mean, because that's a lot of work. Which one talks about median? Answer choice D talks about median. Factory B produced more t-shirts than factory A because factory B has a median of 116 and factory A has a median of 102. This part is true. So did factory B produce more t-shirts? I guess the best way to find that out is to add these all together and figure out how many t-shirts they produced, right? So factory B produced more t-shirts. Let me add these all together and see what I get. Whoops. So I'm going to add 118 plus 124 plus 102 plus 94 plus 116. And I get 554. So I'm going to add a new category down here, guys. I'm going to say total. I'm trying to avoid doing the mean. The total number of shirts produced for factory B, I added those all together and I got 554. Now let me add all the shirts together for factory A. So I'm going to add 120 plus 88 plus 113 plus 98 plus 102. And I get 521. So factory B produced more t-shirts than factory A. That's true. They produced 554 and factory A produced 521. So this is the correct answer, choice D. All right, so I don't have to do choice B in this particular case. If choice D was not correct, I would then have to go and find the mean. And remember, to find the mean, you add these all together, which we already did here to find my totals. And then you divide by however many there are. So I would be dividing these each by 5 to get the mean. So I may as well finish it off for you. So 521 divided by 5 is about 104.2. And then 554 divided by 5 is 110.8. All right, let's look at answer choice B. It says factory B produced more t-shirts than factory A. Factory B produced more t-shirts than factory A. That part's true. It produced 554, which is more than 521, because factory B has a mean of 110.8 and factory A has a mean of 104.2. Guys, that one's true too. Goodness gracious. So I'm making another note on the practice test. If you put answer choice B or D for number 16, I will give you credit. All right, so you can choose either one of those because they're both true statements. All right, guys, go ahead and copy down what you want. Make sure your notes are in order. I will do one more video for question number 15 when I figure out what's going on with that one. As you guys can see, all these videos took me like 2 hours. It's going to take you like 2 hours. This is an intense test. I'm looking for kids that can grit it out, looking for kids that can show that they know how to do the math. Okay, we're not asking for easy things here. We're not also looking for perfection. Okay, we're trying to pass, trying to get a 70 or higher, right? Message me with questions, guys.